Ladies and gentlemen, my name is
Scott.
Hey, yo. Is that his younger brother? It's gonna be
Jeff.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
And you're listening to
all of the great action figures from our good friends at Hasbro.
The Fullyposeable.
Have your own WrestleMania with all your favorite figures.
Wrestling figure.
Each sold separately from LJN.
Podcast.
And we are the Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling.
Hey, welcome to episode 281 of the Fullyposeable Wrestling Figure Podcast, the longest running episodic wrestling figure podcast going today. My name is Jeff. Sitting alongside next to me is my real life brother, not storyline brother, Scott. Scott, say hello.
Hello.
Scott, before we get into basically what we did this past week and shenanigans, we want to thank Marty DeRosa for coming on last week. It was such a blast talking to him. And on top of that, just a few days after we recorded with him and the show dropped, him and Sarah got engaged. We want to congratulate both of them on their engagement.
Yeah, absolutely. Huge congratulations to Marty and Sarah. And Marty, from me to you, thank you so much for coming on last week. We absolutely had a blast talking to you, and I always look forward to our episodes. We enjoy all of our guests, but Marty, huge thank you for last week, and big time congratulations to you and Sarah. I'm so happy for you guys.
Scott, what's going on, man?
Well, this week we have Bankster Barry going through the body, powering me through the show. We're out of lemon drop. I think I mentioned that. We had like approximately 182 cans in the garage at one point.
Around there, yeah.
Yeah, it was something like that. But unfortunately, local supermarket completely out of lemon drops now. We cleaned them out, and now we're out of the lemon drops, so it's off to the mix and match flavors, Bankster Berry today. And aside from that, dude, I'm really crushed by those releases that just happened in WWE. I think, you and I were kind of talking about this before we started recording, I think Braun Strowman has to be the biggest miss out of all of them. I know there's a lot of Aleister Black fans. I'm one myself. A lot of Murphy fans, even some Lana fans out there, some Ruby Riott fans. But with Braun's career trajectory when he was the monster among men and he was in the Wyatt family, squashing dudes, came out of that and he was feuding with Roman and they actually put Braun over in that feud. That was kind of his moment. And you could see them definitely grooming him for bigger and better things, which by all accounts should have been the World Heavyweight title. And while he did win that at WrestleMania last year, I think it was just too little too late. He had a not so glowing title run after he finally did win the title and he beat Goldberg when everybody knew that was going to happen. They just needed somebody to take the belt off of him. He only held it until SummerSlam, and just an unremarkable run. And I think everything kind of derailed when they had him losing to Brock Lesnar. And that sucks because the way that they were building Braun up, like I said, you could see that they were pushing and grooming him for something, and it should have been the world title. And going up against Brock Lesnar, the way they had booked him up to that point, everything said, okay, this is his moment. This is when he should beat Brock and become, quote-unquote, the guy. And I don't know what it was behind the scenes. I don't know why they didn't want him to be champion. But I think that's the moment where they missed the mark, and everybody kind of started to sour on Braun a little bit. Like, okay, you made this monster, but he doesn't have it. He doesn't have enough to get over the hump and be champion. And that sucks. And then they kind of messed up his character. He was face, right? And they stuck him with a kid at WrestleMania. He won the tag titles. Oh, that's all good fun. But then the crowd kind of soured on that a little bit. And then they were trying to get Roman over as face more. And so they kind of turned Braun heel for a minute and sided him with Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, and that didn't really make any sense, and then they turned him back face, and then suddenly you have Big Show syndrome, right? Like, heel and face too many times, and nobody cared. And that is the death knell for a character. And so I think ultimately, all that said, I think ultimately they missed the mark, and I've heard rumors that he was making too much money, whatever, but I don't think that he'd be making too much money if they had continued with the direction they had pointed him in way back in like 2017. He was on the right track. He was building momentum. That was organic. The crowd actually got behind him. WWE was doing something right, and then they didn't. and not pulling the trigger on him, too many start-stops, they just missed the mark. And that it sucks for Braun. It sucks for everybody that was released. And you could make the same argument I just made for Braun for anybody that just got released. But I think, just my opinion, I think the biggest miss was Braun. And regarding Alistair, I don't think he should have ever left NXT. Especially when you look at the talent pool that's there now. You put him into a feud with Karrion and Cross. I think there's money all over that. I think they just didn't know what to do with him when he hit the main roster. And I don't want to get any deeper. We're a wrestling figure show, not a wrestling show. Just kind of wanted to give my 2 cents because it sucks when good people lose their jobs. That's what happened this week. People got released. It sucks. They'll all land somewhere, of course. The wrestling world is huge. Maybe we'll get figures of them from another toy manufacturer now, but they'll all land on their feet somewhere. Super talented group that got released, and that sucks, but they will succeed somewhere else. And kind of my ace in the hole out of everybody that got released yesterday, well, today's Thursday, we're recording, yesterday being Wednesday, Murphy. Murphy is so super talented. He's an excellent in-ring talent, which is funny because I hated Blake and Murphy as a tag team in NXT, but I loved Murphy as a singles character and as a singles wrestler. He has a ton of potential that WWE kind of scratched the surface on, but I think somewhere like Impact, possibly even NJPW, give him the long form matches, he's going to blow people away. I think out of everybody, when they land somewhere else, I think Murphy is going to be the biggest impact out of all of them.
The Braun Strowman thing kind of surprised me because it was like his career kind of mirrored Ryback's. Like Ryback came in with this, oh my God feeling, and then it was just seemed like it was crushed, like almost instantaneously.
Now you're talking about Ryback, not Skip Sheffield, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
I would agree with you.
Yes.
He was like the cyborg, like almost like the second coming of Goldberg, right?
Yep.
But yeah, I would agree with you. Like just bad booking decisions maybe. And again, backstage, you don't know what goes on, right? Like there could be something about their character, who they are as a person, that weighs into whether or not they are pushed to that next level. I don't know if that's what derailed Ryback. I don't know if that's what derailed Braun, but as a fan on the outside looking in, it sucks.
Well, I think Braun would fit in perfect over at New Japan, booking him like a Vader type.
Yes. Or a Brody or a Hansen.
Yep, exactly. So I think he would fit in perfect there. So, but as you said, we are not a wrestling show. We are a wrestling figure podcast, and that's why I'm about to crack open a Bang energy drink.
Dude.
Which is Wild and Watermelon.
Ooh, you got the new watermelon flavor.
So I've got to admit, I've already cracked one open.
Lucky?
Basically, I know the flavor, but it doesn't taste like watermelon.
Okay, is that just like weird marketing?
I think so. It tastes like Rainbow Unicorn to me.
Oh. Interesting. I wonder what they added to it, if anything, to call it watermelon instead of just putting out more cans of the unicorn.
I don't know. It just tastes like Rainbow Unicorn. Like I don't mind it. It's not my favorite.
Interesting.
But it tastes like Rainbow Unicorn to me, almost like so.
Well, if that's the case, then I'm going to be skipping that one.
It's better than that trash radical skedaddle.
How dare you, sir?
Trash.
How dare you? Did they eliminate champagne?
I think so.
I never see that one anymore, and it was outstanding. That sucks. I think they still have root beer, though. Again, weird marketing decisions.
Yeah, the radical skedaddle is trash. It's so much
trash. Okay, you can stop.
It's so much trash that the Houston Astros adapt it as their favorite Bang energy drink.
That's hella funny.
Thank you.
Way to knock a Bang flavor and the Astros in one swing. Excellent job, dude.
I'm sorry to all the Astros fans out there. I'm sorry.
No, you're not. You're lying.
Any team that beats the Dodgers in the World Series, you've got my thumbs up.
That was one of those World Series where you're waiting for Bane to show up and the earth opens up and swallows both teams whole.
Like Breaker and Bane?
No, not Breaker and Bane.
Oh.
Bane from the Batman movie, dude.
That would be cool if Bane from Breaker and Bane dressed as Bane for Halloween.
It's so literal.
If anybody would like to get any of our shirts, head on over to Pro Wrestling Tees or or whatamaneuver.net. You can follow us on Twitter, YouTube, Snapchat, and the Book of Faces at Fullyposeable, Instagram, Fullyposeable WFP. You can go back and listen to any of our past podcasts on fullyposablepodcast.com or head on over to Podbean and you can listen to episode 1, which we don't recommend you doing. Stitcher, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Please rate and review on iTunes. And we are getting to the questions tonight, but if you have any questions, send on over any questions to fullyposablewfp@gmail.com. Scott, have you purchased anything lately, or have you done any toy spotting?
No. Actually, it's been kind of quiet the last week. Just been kind of like doing stuff around the house. Haven't really gotten out much. I do have Flint and Lady J on the way. I think they're landing here tomorrow from the G.I. Joe series. There's a G.I. Joe event happening tomorrow through Hasbro Pulse, so I'm excited to see the latest offerings from Hasbro for those. Nothing new to report in the toy world on my side.
Yeah, nothing over here as well. I'm kind of looking around the room. I was like, what did I get? I did get the Cena NWO thing. That was cool.
Oh, you did get that. I didn't think you were going to purchase that.
I did get it. The bad thing is that you have to break open the front part to see the figure inside, and we know that I don't do that over here.
So you purchased a box.
I purchased a box. That's all it is.
Oh, good for you.
It's fitting. I can't see Cena.
Well done.
Thank you. Actually, I just came up with that on the fly right now.
Well, you're a host extraordinaire, dude. We expect nothing less.
Aw, thanks, dude.
I was being sarcastic.
Oh.
A host extraordinaire would pick up on that.
Oh. Scott, so this show basically tonight is going to be news and listener, because we haven't gotten to the listener in the past couple weeks, so we are going to get in all the questions tonight. We also have a lot of news due to the AEW stuff from Double or Nothing this past weekend. So, with all that said, Scott, would you like to get into the news?
Yeah, let's just fly right into it. Let's talk about it.
Oh, you gonna learn today.
Scott, we are going to kick it off with Zombie Sailor Toys. This week he announced the signing of Hercules. So we've had the announcement of Paul Roma, and now we're getting Hercules. So we're getting a little P&G going on over there.
Yes, and you have to wonder if he's going to do several versions of Hercules, right? Because you'll want him from his singles run, because we haven't had a Hercules figure since LJN, right?
Correct.
And that figure was in his, like, Roman gear. He had his chest plate on and all of that stuff. He wasn't actually he had his trunks and boots on, but he wasn't in his, like, in-ring wrestling gear. He was in his entrance gear. So technically, we've never had an in-ring Hercules figure. So that would be a definite want. But then with the announcement of Paul Roma, you've got to think Power and Glory as well. So we'll see what happens. But I think when you have a guy, and you've talked about this, Jeff, when you've got a guy under a deal, if he's had several iterations of a character, you want to get all those out as quickly as possible before the deal expires. So hopefully that's what Zombie Sailor's doing, is we'll get a couple versions of Hercules. That guy needs figures.
Who, Zombie Sailor?
Not Zombie Sailor, Hercules.
Oh, okay.
I think Hercules is going to sell really well for him.
I do too. I think getting the Power and Glory tag team set, if they do Hercules in that outfit, them two together will do well for him.
And Power and Glory fits perfectly into that Hasbro era that I've often mentioned, as does his Dino Bravo. So kudos to Zombie Sailor on that one. That's a big get.
Also, sticking with Zombie Sailor, he showed off the packaging that he's going to be using for these figures. It'll be a black package. It'll look like the Hasbro card. It'll have the wrestler, if you're looking at the package, to the right, and it will say heels and faces up in the upper left-hand corner. The card, I was telling Scott before we started recording, has a very ECW-ish undertones to it. And it's not only the writing of the heels and faces up in the upper left-hand corner, it just has an ECW feel. I'm not talking about the old San Francisco Toy Maker figures. I'm talking about just the feeling of it. It's just when you look at it, you see ECW. So we're going to move along to Chella Toys, who's also doing Hasbro-style figures. And huge news from Chella. They announced they are making an Atom Bomb / Brian Clark figure. He will be in a yellow and black singlet with removable goggles.
Brilliant.
And sticking with Brian Clark, he was on Pulling Up a Chair with Tim this past week. So go check that out. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten a chance to listen to it yet as the show dropped today. And I haven't had a chance to listen to it. But great job, Tim, getting Brian Clark / Adam Bomb.
Absolutely. Tim, I'm so happy for you, dude. That is a fantastic get, especially with the announcement of his new figure. So many fans are going to be clamoring to get that one that cannot get his Hasbro. Now they can get the Chella, and it's kind of got that upgrade with a different outfit and the removable goggles, which I think is absolutely brilliant by Chella to do that. And on top of that, Tim had him on Pulling Up a Chair. So Tim, kudos on that one. Super happy for you, buddy.
This will be Adam Bomb's third figure. He had the Hasbro, the Jakks Classic, and now this.
3.
I think there was some unreleased Chronic figures too. They were supposed to come out for WCW, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that's correct. Toy Biz had Chronic lined up, ready to come out, and then they didn't.
Yep. So that is it for Zombie Sailor and Chella Toys. Great job, Chella, on getting Adam Bomb. That just hits in the feels right here. So great job, guys. Moving along to AEW. The AEW Real Scale ring will come with Ref Aubrey. It will be her first figure. It looks like Aubrey, but the cool touch is on the hands, they had her painted nails. She does different color fingernails. I don't have fingernails, Scott, so I don't even know what these things are.
Stop chewing them off.
Hey, I blame you for that.
It is totally my fault.
I watched you do it one time coming home from Best, and I was like, well, that looks delicious. So, anyway.
Our parents didn't feed us, so we had to resort to fingernails.
But going back to the Ref Aubrey figure, she will be coming with an AEW Real Scale ring. Now, we're going to hit a little bit, our first part of nostalgia, I should say. Let's start with the Pillow Buddies. AEW Pillow Buddies are coming. The first 4 will be Luchasaurus, Cody.
What? That's weird. They're making Cody?
Surprising. And he'll be in the Paul Orndorff LJN style, where he's got like the most muscular pose, where he's buff. Yep.
Also Ken Patera.
Yep, exactly. Kenny Omega. Kenny will actually be in the pointing, like the gun thing that he does at the beginning of the match. And Darby Allin. He'll be all painted up. So that is the first bit of a nostalgia for AEW.
Are you saying that there could be some more coming soon, Jeff?
Yeah, look at that. Also, Amazon exclusive. Chris Jericho will have a pink cloth shirt and glasses that will be an Amazon exclusive. Now, let's get over to Unmatched Series 1. A lot of you are like, what makes these different from Unrivaled? Well, there isn't much, but here's what Jeremy said. AEW Unrivaled and AEW Unmatched are 1, same scale, 2, same quality, 3, same packaging footprint, 4, extensions of one another, and 5, allow us to get additional retail space plus more figures. Watch for 2-packs, exclusives, accessories, rings, and sets to build out your AEW experience. So basically, it is just another run of Unrivaled.
Interesting, because normally we get your less expensive figure, like the Mattel model of Basic, Elite, Ultimate Edition. So this is just, they already had a quote-unquote Elite series with Unrivaled, and now all they did was add another Elite series to it called Unmatched. Is that what I'm understanding from this? I'm guessing there's no difference in price point?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, dude. Think of it going back to the BCA days of, you know, we had our main line of BCAs, but then how many other lines did we have that were BCAs?
Oh, yeah, like Shotgun Saturday Night and then
WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Just kind of think of it like that. That's what I had to do because I was thinking that same thing. I was like, there is no difference between the two. Like, what the hell? And then I started thinking, okay, well, that's no different than the BCAs back in the day. That's no different than Defining Moments and Elites, except Defining Moments were only 2 per and not 6 per series.
Okay. So I'm guessing there's no difference in price point either. It's $19.99.
Jeremy did not say that, but I'm figuring it'll be the same price.
Well, they look just like the Unrivaled in terms of quality and accessories, so okay. $20 a figure, I'm guessing. That's cool.
So, Unmatched Series 1, Kenny Omega, Darby Allin, Miro, which is AEW's first offering of Rusev / Miro. Britt Baker finally got her figure. I put Gold Dust.
I noticed that. I wasn't going to say anything because, I'm a professional and all.
Hey, listeners. My bad.
Jeff effed up his notes. It's not Gold Dust.
And to round out Unmatched Series 1, Cody, but Cody will be in LJN style. And that's the other piece of nostalgia that we were talking about.
Yes. Is that Cody or is that Drago from Rocky 4? Can't really tell.
Either or, dude.
Yeah. But Drago didn't have a horrible neck tattoo, so that's got to be Cody.
I don't think they have according to the picture, I don't see the neck tattoo on there.
They have to have it on there.
But he will be in the left arm. It's almost like the Greg Valentine pose, but the arm is more cocked up a little bit and not in a lariat style like Greg Hammer Valentine was.
Okay, so it'll be like a body slam, like in the lift part of it.
Yeah, but except doing it left-handed instead of right-handed.
Right. Oh, and Britt Baker's going to have a variant as well.
Unmatched Series 2, Tay Conti, Wardlow, that'll be his first figure, and Tay's first figure as well. Sting, he will have the bat and long jacket, according to the pictures. MJF will come with a robe. Now, this is the figure that should have come out with the 1 of 500 or the 1 of 1,000, whatever he had. That would have separated the main run line from the 1 of.
Agree.
This does have a high secondary market, but that's because times are stupid right now.
Well, the run number helps it as well.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, like, the 1 of was just a scarf. If you would have put him in this robe, that would have made this 1 of more desirable. Personal opinion. And Santana and Ortiz to round out Unmatched Series 2. Unmatched Series 3. Brody Lee, which I think is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stu Grayson, John Silver, Anna Jay, Evil Uno, and the LJN style figure will be Darby Allin. So that will be this, as of right now, I believe that is the second LJN style figure.
Yeah, that's cool. So this is kind of like when the Jakks Classic Superstars that Jeremy was responsible for did that LJN love letter. We were all huge fans of that. The packaging's even going to resemble the old LJN figures of the past. So all in all, they are definitely paying proper service to the LJNs. So my concern is that the Young Bucks LJNs that had come out a couple of years back, they didn't look the greatest. So I'm reserving judgment on these. We saw a rendering of what Cody's going to look like, and we saw a grayed out sculpt of what Darby Allin is going to look like. So we'll kind of wait and see what happens with these LJN love letters by Jazzwares.
Unrivaled Series 7. Nyla Rose, which not only is this her first figure, if I'm not mistaken, this is the very first transgender figure, isn't it?
I believe it is, yes.
Kudos to them.
Absolutely.
Cash Wheeler, Dax, Lance Hoyt, and Nick and Matt Jackson. That will be Unrivaled Series 7.
That's a really solid assortment right there, dude.
It is. You've got 2 sets of tag teams right there. You got Nick and Matt, and I wanted to say Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson. That's because I'm looking at their figures right now. They're literally right in front of me. But
you can call them the Revival. It's fine. You called Miro Rusev, so it's fine. We all know who you're talking about.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You get a pass.
At least I didn't put it on the notes, right?
Exactly. Yes, you were very professional in your notes, except for Gold Dust.
And Lance Hoyt, I'm actually excited about that figure.
Yeah, you haven't had many Lance Hoyt figures. I think we got one from Toy Biz, and that was pretty much it. So here's this offering. I hope it's as good as that Toy Biz was.
And Unrivaled Series 8, Trent, Sexy Chucky T, Chris Statlander. All 3 of those will be debut figures for AEW. John Moxley, Orange Cassidy, and Chris Jericho. That will be Unrivaled Series 8. Those were all the reveals from this past week.
Yeah, pretty shocking that they announced 2 Unrivaled series and not 1 Cody Rhodes in there. I think that's a record for them, right? 2 consecutive series?
Well, they had to throw him into the Unmatched.
Well, no, totally. And even that one is in the LJN style. And yeah, he's getting a pillow buddy too, but you get back-to-back sets of Unrivaled and no Cody Rhodes. That's pretty shocking.
Yeah. Well, they're starting to expand their roster, which is good. So
absolutely.
Yep. So that was it for the AEW reveals. Scott, actually, I want to kind of trickle back to what you mentioned earlier about the Hasbro reveals for tomorrow. What are you hoping for? What are you thinking is going to be in there?
Well, I'm hearing rumors of Dr. Mindbender and Barbecue as the next Cobra Island exclusive to Target. I'm really hoping to see more of the retro series from Walmart, because I know a lot of people have crapped on those, but I actually like them. I think that they're cool. I love the vehicle assortments. And maybe another vehicle from the Classified series. I'd like to see him. We talked to Marty a little bit about that last week. Something smaller scale, like maybe the motorcycle or even the Jeep, the Vamp, something like that. I think that'd be cool. Or even a His Tank. I think that would be awesome if they took a stab at that with the driver exclusive. Probably going to pay like 70 or $80 for it, but totally worth it. So just hoping to see some new stuff. And I don't want to see more retread names like Roadblock and Scarlet and another Destro. Like, give those, even Snake Eyes, give those names a rest. Like, give us more from the names that we grew up with. That's kind of what I'm hoping for.
Okay. I was kind of curious what you thinking you were going to see.
Yeah, you know what? And we're long overdue for a Stalker figure from G.I. Joe. So give us Stalker. I'll even be happy with Flash. Give us Flash. That would be awesome. But we'll wait. I'm really excited to watch and see what they're going to offer. But again, here they go with the Target exclusives. If they go on sale that morning, we'll see if I finally get lucky with the Target. Or also if you get lucky with the Target, Jeff.
Didn't Dan Spivey play a Stalker character?
Yes, and he was called Waylon Mercy. He was actually based off of De Niro's character in Cape Fear.
That's right. And I know Bray Wyatt actually picked his brain regarding that character when he was coming up with the Bray Wyatt character.
Yeah, a lot of similarities between those guys. You could definitely see where they were drawing those parallels. It's pretty awesome.
Yep. Scott, we're going to round out the show with the listener segment. We are getting to the listener. We have put it off for the past 2 weeks, and we apologize, but we're going to get to your questions. So it is time to hit up the listener segment.
And I just want to hear from my people. Tell me, can I hear from my people? I just want to hear from my people. And I just want to listen.
Scott, getting into the listener segment, first question comes in from, on Instagram, Vamp55Figs. Hey, Jeff and Scott, thanks for doing the show. Enjoy listening on my drive to work on Monday mornings. Hey, man, glad to make your commute a little bit easier. My question, are Facebook raffles good for collecting or bad for collecting? Me personally, I hate them. Some very shady people, not all, but the majority, seem to run them. In my opinion, these things are worse than scalping, and it's not close. I recently saw on Facebook a raffle that was 100 spots at $100 a spot.
Wow, what were they winning?
Someone is making $10K. Just wanted to hear your thoughts. I don't know. He didn't say, but wow.
Oh my gosh, something like that. That's crazy.
$10,000? Like what figure? What figure is that?
Oh my goodness, was it a black card LJN Hogan?
I will take that for $1,000.
Jeez, that's insane. Yeah, when prices are like that, he's absolutely right. That's pure scalping. And I mean, if you're a collector and you're desperate for it, but you don't have the funds to purchase, like Jeff, I think for a while you were trying to win the 86 heavyweight title.
Correct.
Through raffles and whatnot. I've never had any good luck in them, so as a rule, I don't participate in them. I know you didn't have any good luck in them with the belts. As far as the people putting them on, I don't know if they're good or bad people. I couldn't speak to that. But I always know that I lose when I do those. So as a rule, I just don't participate in them. But it is kind of crazy when you start doing the math to see what they get out of it if they sell out the raffle. What they're selling the figure for at the end of it. It's like, man, it's great if you're a collector and you can get it for a lower price. But the person that's selling the figure just did way better than they would have done on eBay. So yeah, at the end of the day, that is... it's kind of hard to say scalping on a retired piece, like on a green card Hasbro or something like that, but man, like on a current figure, sometimes those things go for way more than what they should, and I'm not a big fan of that either. So just personally, as a rule, I don't participate.
But do you feel that they're good for collecting or bad for collecting?
I think if you're, like I said, if you're a collector that doesn't really have the funds to go out, like say a 1-2-3 kid is in a raffle, right? And you don't have the funds to go plunk down 1,000 or whatever he's going for now, but you can buy your way in for, $20. Well, you buy 4 or 5 spots and hope for the best. And if you win, hey, that's amazing. And that's going to promote you to go do more raffles, right? When you have really good luck in one, you're going to want to play some more. But as a rule, I always lose at them. And maybe that is influencing why I wouldn't ever do it again, or I would tell people not to do it. But as a rule, I myself, I just don't participate. If you continually win at them, more power to you. In that case, it's great for the collector because you're getting a figure at a fraction of what you pay for it on the secondary market. But as a rule, I don't participate.
Yeah, I kind of learned my lesson with those because it was with that 86 title, we just kept losing. And then we were doing buy-ins to raffles to get more spots in the main raffle to get the 86 title, and we wouldn't even hit on those. So, but it's all up to the collector. What do they think? If they hit on a 1-2-3 kid and then let's say they hit on another green card and all they had to do was spend $40 and they just got lucky.
Yeah.
Like you said, Scott, it's great for collecting, but to the people that have been putting into numerous raffles, dropping $40 a spot or $20 a spot, and they still have not hit on one green card or one LJN or whatever they're putting in for the raffle, then it's frustrating for the collector in that aspect. So I guess it comes from two different sides. It's just the lucky side and the unlucky side. And Vamp, I feel for you, man, because I'm on the unlucky side. And I got to the point, and even Celeste got to the point, we were just like, done. We're not doing this anymore.
Well, at the end of the day, it's just gambling, right?
Yeah.
You're going to pay to play, and you could win or you could lose. And the odds are in your favor that you're going to lose. So that's, to me, enough to say, no thanks, I'm good. But again, if you get lucky and you can, like you said, Jeff, score a 1-2-3 kid for like a $40 buy-in, well, holy crap, you just got the deal of the century.
Right. I understand why people do them. That $100 for 100 spots, that's insane. That'd be funny if they just put up like a regular elite. It's like a Carmella elite or something.
It's a Festus off the ropes figure from Jax.
But that's insane. And I'm not going to call the people shady, but that's something's got to be called out on that a little bit.
Well, I don't know what they put up for the win, right? Like, you spend that much money. Like, what was the grand prize?
Well, I mean, is it an unreleased figure? Like, is it a prototype is it a Greg the Hammer Valentine prototype, Hasbro prototype?
Well, we don't know. That's what I'm saying is it may have been worth the $100 buy-in based on what it was. Like you said, if it's a prototype or something, then geez, yeah, or like a Killer Khan prototype or something like that would be, holy crap, of course,
Right.
Let's try to jump in and see if we win it. But yeah, it's just gambling at the end of the day, really, is what it is.
Yeah. Hit us up, Vamp. I'm actually kind of curious what the figure was that was put up. Thank you again, Vamp. Scott, next question comes in from the great Christopher Dean. Hello, guys. Kind of sad to see the recent release of talent. It seems to me, with Nick Khan seemingly taking the reins of all facets of WWE and other than creative, it seems there is some bigger play in motion. Unfortunately, it seems these talents are paying the price. Vince failed them. Plain and simple, I remember at Staples, the whole arena was ready to explode for Braun to beat Lesnar, and when it didn't happen, the whole place was deflated. It seems time and time again the miss on talent. People stop investing. In your opinion, does that derail fervor for figs, merch, and desire to see them live? Legends always seem to have a fervor around their release. Only a few current talents in WWE cause that. Fiend, Cross, and First Time in the Line seem to be the only exceptions. Do you think they need to refocus on the talent rather than the brand?
Wow. So if you don't mind, Jeff, I'll kind of jump in because it's funny. I kind of had a conversation with Christopher about this. And I also had a conversation with Tim about it. And I'll be perfectly honest. I've really been lacking on watching wrestling lately. And I'll normally catch up on results from Raw and SmackDown, stay on top of what's going on. and I'll watch the pay-per-views. Well, I haven't really been keeping up on results of the Monday and Friday shows, and I didn't even watch the last pay-per-view. So I'm starting to, I don't know if bored is the right word for it, but just maybe lose interest a little bit in the current product. But the weird thing is I'll watch old stuff all day. I love it. I'll go back and watch, like an old WrestleMania or an old Starrcade or an old Halloween Havoc or an old SummerSlam. I'll watch the old stuff all the time. The newer stuff, I don't know what it is. It's not holding my attention. It's not grabbing me. And I believe it was Tim that I was having the conversation with. I was saying you can kind of see and this is going to answer Chris's question now, you can see on the wall how I've kind of tracked with my distaste with the current product, with how I'm collecting the figures. Because I've hung them up kind of sequentially with where I've gotten them, or the time frame that I've gotten them. And it's a good mix, back there on the wall. It's a good mix of current and past talent. But as you start to get closer to my newer stuff, it really starts to go into legends. So you're going to see a lot of fewer new stars, and you're going to see way more legends. And I think that just goes hand in hand with my loss of interest in the main roster and my love for the old product. You can see I've collected exactly the same way. My interest now lies mainly with the Legends figures, not just the Target exclusives, but any legend that is in an Elite line, the Legends series themselves, the Ultimate Editions, I gravitate more towards the older names. And it just seems to be walking hand in hand with my distaste with the current state of wrestling, I guess. And to answer Chris's question, yes, my fervor, that's a big word there, Jeff.
I didn't know what that word was until you told me.
Yes, my fervor for collecting newer stars isn't there. My fervor lies with collecting legends. And I think I've been pretty honest about that. With my collection, it's a lot of legends. It's very legends heavy now, especially over the last year and a half. That's almost exclusively what I've been collecting. I think the Viking Raiders and Bailey would be the exception. And of course the Roderick Strong Elite and the Undisputed Era set that Tim got me. Aside from that, it's not a lot of newer stars. And I don't know if that's just old crotchety me, because I don't want to be that guy that's like, back in my day, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know, that just the newer product isn't doing it for me right now. And that just could be a lull. I could get right back into it. I love NXT. I want to exclude NXT from this discussion. But yes, Christopher, the current stars, the new stars, my distaste for the product, all of that has led to me mostly collecting Legends figures and not much of newer talent. And we kind of touched on the Braun derailment a little bit earlier at the beginning of the show when we were talking about the releases. I think Braun was their biggest miss. And so I'll echo exactly what Christopher said about the miss on Braun.
So actually, let's jump into this. So I'm not calling you out. I'm actually, as you said, you are not into the current product. So Zombie Sailor has Dino Bravo coming out, which falls into your era.
Yeah.
Chella Toys has Dynamite Kid, which falls into your era.
Mm-hmm.
Atom Bomb, same thing. Why aren't you gung-ho on these smaller companies? It seems like that those are the types of figures you should be jumping in on.
It's price point.
Okay, well, that was easy. All right.
Yeah, it's price point. Do I want a Hasbro-style figure for, anywhere from, what is it, after shipping, $30 to $50, $30 to $40, whatever it might be? Or do I want an Elite Hogan, or an Elite Ultimate Warrior, or an Elite Macho Man, or do I want to spend $30 on an Ultimate Edition Edge, or an Ultimate Edition Macho Man? At the end of it, you're getting a hell of a figure in that Ultimate Edition Edge for $30, and you're getting not that I'm not trying to downplay what Chella and Zombie are doing at all. I'm just speaking from a dad with a budget for so many figures that I can buy in a month to a year. I just have to put it all on the scale. Again, I wish I had unlimited funds. I would buy all of it. Zombie Sailor would totally have my business. Chella would totally have my business. Super 7 with the New Japan figures would totally have my business, but in my opinion, I get more bang for the buck out of the Mattels, and so that's where my budget's going to go.
Now, back in the day, you also were gung-ho on a lot of independent wrestling, specifically PWG. How come you're not open to AEW? It just seems like you're not, and maybe it goes to the WWF thing that you're not into the current product, but like it seems like AEW would capture your interest, but you just don't seem to take to it. Is it that you have no connection to it? You're not interested in it? What is that? Yeah,
I think maybe I've lost that loving feeling a little bit. Hate to date myself with that song reference, but I kind of did. But you know what I mean? Like you kind of hit a point where you're like, ugh. And this is the first time in my life that it's happened to me. In fact, I spoke with Breaker about it, and I've said it many times on this show, like we grew up with wrestling and I've never lost that passion for it. And this is kind of the first time in my life that I kind of have. It just, I watch it. It doesn't, even watching WrestleMania, it was good. It was really good, but okay. It didn't inspire me to want to watch Raw and SmackDown. You know, and granted, I know SmackDown has a superior show. Roman Reigns is being booked to the moon right now, and it's so good. I know that. And Roman's being booked the way that he should. He's a monster, and I love it. But just the entire thing, just it's not holding my interest right now. Be it AEW, I've never really watched New Japan. And I'll be honest, I've never watched an episode of AEW. I've seen a couple of their pay-per-views, but I've never seen an episode of AEW. Don't know that I plan to be honest. I think right now I'm just at a a low point with wrestling, and I'll watch older stuff. And I love doing homework for Drunk Wrestling History. We get to watch the older pay-per-views and stuff. But the newer product, be it AEW or WWE, I will draw the line at NXT. I love NXT. I don't watch it every week, but I do love NXT. But as a whole, I don't have a lot of love for the current day product.
I think, and I don't know if it's the current day product or what it is, but take WWE out of it, and if you just watch one show a week, and like say you got, for WWE, you have Raw, SmackDown, pay-per-view. Instead of doing that, if you watched one NXT show a week and one AEW, I think it would kind of bring back that feeling of the NWA and you're getting your WWF.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I'd stick with it for a couple weeks and see if there's anything that does capture you.
Maybe. We'll see. And of course, time weighs into it as well. How much time you have to watch these shows, because NXT is 2 hours, AEW is 2 hours. They're adding more stuff on AEW. I think they're getting another show. But I just kind of hit a low point right now with wrestling, and that's new to me. 47 years old, and here all of a sudden I'm getting the low point with wrestling. Still love the old stuff, but you can definitely tell it has influenced what figures I'm collecting.
Okay. I'll answer Christopher's question. So what I do is if I have a figure that I really want to get signed, and the person has been released by WWE, I will go to an independent show around here, whether it's Big Time Wrestling or APW. Now, granted, they haven't started up yet, but I will go to those shows with those figures, and I will get them signed. So having the elite to go to a show to get signed, it feels good. It's like, okay, cool. I get to meet him. I get to slap down a $20 or $25. Get the figure signed. I'm happy. It's in a paint pen. You get that personal experience instead of, walking up at Access, putting your figure down, smile for the camera and bolt, kid, stuff like that.
Yeah. Kick you down the slide.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's what I did with Rich Swann. I had Rich Swann's Elite. He got released by WWE and went to an APW show, got his figure signed. So I actually okay, I know this sounds bad, but I actually enjoy going to the independent show that these guys are at and being able to meet them. Same thing with WrestleCon. I'll have their figures for WrestleCon and walk up to the table. I've already paid for their ticket and then put the figure down. So I enjoy that experience of them being on the independents more than being in WWE. Did we answer Christopher's question?
I think so. I think we did.
And I learned a new word, fervor.
Yes, I'm super impressed with that, Jeff. At 42 years old, you finally learned what fervor is. So we have Christopher to thank for that.
He's like the genius.
Yes, Christopher is. Now throw a frisbee at Jeff.
Please don't.
But I'll agree with Christopher. You and I were at that LA show when Braun faced Brock. And the building did have that energy, like, okay, this is it. Like, this is the dude that's going to beat Brock Lesnar. And that didn't happen. And you could kind of feel the energy, just like he said, sucked out of the building. And it was like, okay, well, I don't know if I'm going to want to root for Braun again. You know, he keeps losing to Brock. This is great.
I can't remember, when we were at that show, I can't remember if that match went on before Cena and Reigns or if it went on after.
Oh, good point. I don't remember what main evented that show now.
Because that Cena and Reigns match was so good.
It was good, yeah.
It brought the crowd back. Because I can't remember the order that it went in. But I remember that Cena and Reigns match. They had the fans hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, that was great.
Christopher, thank you for your question. Man, we got deep on that one. That's
yes,
what she
we
said.
Did. That's what... Shame on you.
Shame. Scott, our next question comes in from Justin Summers. Let's see what Justin's got to say.
Hello, Scott and Jeff. This is once again Justin Summers from Wrestling Cheers with my, kind of weekly question. I haven't sent anything in the past 2 weeks because, there's been segments where I can't send anything in. First it was a Hall of Fame, and then it was Marty DeRosa, and now we're back to listening to the listeners. And, before I get into my question, I've done so much toy spotting over the past couple weeks, some that's been on social media, others that haven't, and I'm getting to the point where I'm buying stuff and I'm not getting to display it yet because I have to redo my entire office, which means I'm going to be organizing it because it's a downright mess, but also finding some new spots to hang figures and just do everything right. My question for you guys this week, I don't think I've heard you talk about it. I've only been listening to the podcast for almost a year, but I feel like I don't recall any conversations about this particular product. How do you guys feel about micro brawlers? Personally, when they first started coming out, I really wasn't into them. And then I got the crate for 2 months and I kind of liked those brawlers that were in there. And then with me being into Macho Man, I was like, well, I got to get the Macho King, because that Macho King micro brawler is pretty awesome. And since then, I feel like they've had some really good releases, whether it be a micro brawler that is going to be a limited run or available for pre-order. So if you want it, like you got this week to go get it, or you got a day or two to go get it, like the New Jack, especially the Owen Hart one, the very first one that they released. I'm really sad I passed up on that one, and it's not a cheap one to find now. But one thing I really like about them is being able to have some figures for wrestlers that might not necessarily have them. As soon as they announced the Danhausen Micro Brawler, I jumped on it. And I jumped on the second one that they announced, just haven't produced and sent yet. When they announced the Josh Alexander one, I jumped on that one. I've been watching him since 2012. And I always loved him and Ethan Page together. And then when they announced the AEW ones, even though he already has figures, but he didn't have one yet, and he's getting an official figure here soon, but, I jumped on the Brody Lee one. I'm not someone who's going to collect all the micro brawlers that there are, because I'm not even that way with wrestling figures. But there's certain ones I see and go, you know what, those are pretty cool. I want to buy this one, and I'm going to buy that one. It's crazy to think a year ago from right now, I think I had none. Bare minimum, I might have had one or two. It was towards the end of last year where it started snowballing for me and wanting to buy more and look into more and all that kind of stuff. All right, that will do it for me. Thank you for everything you guys do. You guys are awesome. I've kind of missed being able to send these in. Hopefully, I get to send in another one next week as well. And you got to make sure you have your pets spayed or neutered. Later.
Thank you, Justin. We missed your question, man. We really did. Regarding the micro brawlers, I love them personally. It just sucks that it's just another thing onto the budget. It's like, I love the look of them. The paint on them, or the deco on them, is beautiful. They always do a great job on these micro brawlers. I don't think they've done one bad one. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I think they're fantastic looking. And like you, I had to jump on the Brody one. I jumped on the Vader one. Those are the most recent ones I've gotten. I've seen the prices on these, and it's tough to justify the secondhand market prices of these, but it's all up to the buyer. They kind of set the price. I didn't even know about the run of Macho Man Friday that they had that one day.
That was ridiculous, dude.
They put out 28 Macho Mans in that day.
Yes.
There's only 24 hours in a day. They put out 28 of them, I think, or something like that. Around there.
Roughly.
Yeah. But I didn't even know about that. And luckily I was able to score the orange trunks, but I wanted all of them. I wanted the Mega Powers look. I wanted the, I think they did a black and white Macho Man. I wanted all of them, but missed out. What it is. But so again, I'll jump back. I think that they're great. I love them. I love the look of them. So, and they make great desk displays.
Yeah, totally. They're the smaller format figure. And I actually feel bad because every time I talk about all of the players in the game making wrestling figures, I always overlook micro brawlers, and I shouldn't because they are such great figure, like price point, attention to detail, a huge roster of names, like all of the check marks are there that make this a great assortment. And like Justin said, he said it perfectly. There are some guys or gals in this set that otherwise wouldn't have a figure, right? But they can get a micro brawler. And that's amazing. They are definitely players in today's figure game. I think they're awesome. As you said, Jeff, they're great desk displays. They kind of remind me of those blind box WWE figures that came out. I wouldn't even call them figures, but they came out in like 2015. And there was like Daniel Bryan, Andre the Giant, Iron Sheik. I think they did a couple of series. Second series was like Sergeant Slaughter, Razor Ramon, Jake the Snake. Those were awesome. I would kind of put the micro brawlers in that category, that they're not really figures, but they're more, like you call them, Jeff, desk displays, little collectibles, almost like Funko Pops, but just really smaller than that. But the detail's great. Paint apps are awesome. I don't really collect them, with all that said. I have 4 on my wall. I have the Legion of Doom, and I take that back. I have 6. I have the Road Warriors, I have Legion of Doom, and I have Demolition. That's it. I had Chris Hero at one point, but his secondary market was insane. This was well after he was released. I needed money for a Disneyland trip. I sold him, and as you said, Jeff, the secondary market will dictate what your figure's worth. It's only worth what somebody's willing to pay, and somebody at that moment was willing to pay quite a bit for it. So that was awesome, because it definitely helped out with the Disneyland trip. And that's the thing about these things, is once they're gone, they're gone. And that's when the secondary market value is really going to start to increase. So if you want to jump in, and I would say it's a good return on your investment once these things are gone. And I don't normally jump into figures to flip them, but the values I've seen on some of these compared to what you pay for them is crazy. But aside from that, just jump in because they're cool. Like, micro ballers are awesome. They really are. I really enjoy them. Cool little collectibles, not super expensive. There's a ton of names on the roster, from Legends to Current to Indie, which I think is awesome. So yeah, definitely worth a look into. And then once they're retired and they hit the secondary market, value just goes up from there.
The Chris Hero, I believe, is still high, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think I saw somebody just mention they sold one for like $200 or $225. Mine didn't go for that much, but man, it's crazy. And again, I don't jump into collecting just to flip figures. That's not really my forte, but if that's your thing, definitely take a look at micro brawlers. If flipping figures is not your thing, just check them out because they're very cool looking.
Sky, I kind of want to go back to what we were talking about before Justin's question real fast. I was thinking about it. Your taste and love for older wrestling, I think, shows with Mattel right now. And I think that is because they're putting out so many legends and so many older guys that I think they start to see that as well, that a lot of people are now desiring older wrestling figures so much that they are kind of leaning that way with the legends and other guys that they put out. Yeah, definitely. And it's funny because I know that AEW figures aren't put out in the same quantities that the Mattel WWE figures are, but you can definitely see that AEW figures are way harder to find than the WWE ones. So I think that there's a lot of love for AEW's product and AEW as a whole. And I think that a lot of fans are just, I don't want to say a lot of fans. There are people listening that are huge WWE fans, as am I. But
I think that there are a lot of people that are dissatisfied with the current product and maybe aren't buying the figures up, and maybe that's turning them over to AEW and putting even more eyes on that product, therefore more hands on the AEW product on the pegs. So I don't know if there's any correlation there, but I think you're right, Jeff. I think that Mattel definitely sees that there's money to be made with the Legends, and that's why we're getting so many Legends. The last big roundup that we did with new WWE product, remember we were going down the list, Legend. Fewer new names, a ton of Legends. So you're absolutely right. Mattel sees it.
Yep. Thank you, Justin. Scott, last question of the week comes in from Josh Thompson. Hey, Jeff and Scott, JT here, back with that weekly submission. This week I wanted to give you guys my thoughts on what AEW revealed to us at Double or Nothing Fest. Right off the bat, I popped when I saw the Lance Hoyt was finally getting himself a wrestling figure. It's been a long time since Lance has gotten one, so seeing him get a figure finally was awesome. While I wish Unmatched Series 1 and 2 had gotten more deeper into the AEW roster, I'm not going to completely ignore the series. Darby Allin's figure from Unmatched 1 looks awesome, and I'm getting some Bobby Roode entrance great vibes from the MJF's Unmatched Series 2 figure.
Oh, I could see that.
Unmatched Line 3 began mostly dedicated to the Dark Order, and even giving us a Brody Lee figure was awesome. And we got our first figure with Aubrey Edwards. Only other thing I have to say is I hope whatever Mattel has in store for us at San Diego Comic-Con or some other reveal event matches up what AEW brought us. Because, man, did we get a lot of great stuff from Double or Nothing Fest. Reminds me of this saying someone I know used to say all the time. What a great time to be a wrestling figure collector. Was the saying, I believe. Thank you, Josh Thompson. Yeah, AEW Double or Nothing Fest was really cool. They showed off a lot of great figures. I hope this becomes a yearly thing. I don't know if they'll be doing one for Double or Nothing and one for All Out, or if they switch it up next year or whatever, but I hope they start doing this fest again and showing off figures, kind of similar to what Access was.
Exactly.
Where they would show off figures. You know, it was WrestleMania Access. You knew you were going to go and you were going to see a Mattel booth or Jack's figures or whatever it was. So I'm hoping that, yes, this becomes a regular thing.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And I do want to point out, Jeff, and we actually should have mentioned this when we were going over the news, with all of the names that were announced, we're getting Super Smash Brothers figures. Not the Nintendo game.
Correct.
The PWG Tag Team Super Smash Brothers. I think that that's awesome. Of course, they're not in their Super Smash Brothers gear, but I think that that's great. I remember watching Super Smash Brothers in, was it like 2012, 2013? They were so much fun to watch. Such a solid tag team. Good to see them showing up in AEW and making some noise, and finally getting figures. And I totally agree on the Hoyt as well with what JT said. Good to see him getting another figure all these years later after the Toy Biz one came out. That was a great looking figure. I'm hoping that Jazzwares does him justice.
Absolutely. I think they're going to. The Brody Lee figure just blew me away. I was so excited to see that he was going to be in a lineup. I knew it was going to happen. It was just one of those in the back of your mind. You knew it was going to happen. You just didn't know when. And I'm glad it's happening.
Yeah, and you know what? It's not going to be the last one.
I agree. So thank you, Josh Thompson, for your review of AEW Fest. Scott, that rounds out the show. We want everybody to check out WrestlingToyTracker.com, where you can find the prices for carded and loose figures on LJN Galoob's, Hasbro's, Just Toys Bendham's, Defining Moments, and Retro. So head on over to WrestlingToyTracker.com. Also, we didn't mention them because we didn't have a nostalgia segment, but we also want you guys to check out Wrestling Figure Database, where they are updating their website, seems like daily, with new stuff. So head on over to Wrestling Figure Database. Next week, we will be back with the nostalgia segment, and we will be picking up the series right where we left off. Well, not with Galoob's, with Marty, but with the Elites. But in the meantime, if you want to check out any of the future Elite lines that we'll be talking about, head on over to WrestlingFigureDatabase.com. Also, we want you to check out our good buddies over at the podcasting world of Breaker and Bane, Retro Show, figure show, wrestling show. They cover it all on Breaker and Bane's Power Hour. Also
Donkey
check
show?
out. No, they haven't gotten into that.
Okay, good.
Although I'm not opposed to them talking about that.
It might not be legal in their state, so that might be why.
Oh, good call. I don't think it's legal in America, dude, honestly.
It just depends on who you know. Sometimes you just need to go to a movies. Sometimes they just got it going on in there.
Well done. Also, check out Breaker's side project. You know it's fake, right? And Scott, I hate to say it, but we lost the PHPW Tag Team Championships.
Did I finally leave your side? Jump off an apron, let you deal with things on your own?
No, but we were in our Rock and Roll Express gear.
Oh,
and we lost.
Of course we did.
Yes. But we lost to the new tag champs, Jason Wolf and Poetic Prophet.
Okay, I can deal with that. Watch your backs, boys.
But we're leaving the territory, so that's the reason that we dropped the straps.
Oh,
that's the only reason.
We quit.
No, we didn't. We're getting booked elsewhere.
Oh.
And other people are paying us more.
Oh, so we didn't pull a Steve Austin and take our ball and go home.
No.
Okay.
We did the favors and went out and...
Okay. Speaking of doing the favors...
Check out Doing the Favor with Eric and Barry. They have a fun show each... Actually, they got 2 shows each week. One on sports, the other on wrestling and wrestling figures. And check out their website, doingthefavor.com, where you can catch those shows and also check out the SKUs and UPC codes over there. So check out doingthefavor.com. While you're over there, check out their shows. Check out also Positively Pro Wrestling Podcast, where this past week, was it last Friday, I think it was, they dropped 1998 SummerSlam.
Nice.
Yes, they reviewed that one, not drunk like you guys did.
I try drunk sometimes. It's a lot of fun.
But they reviewed 1998 SummerSlam, so check out the Positively Pro Wrestling Podcast. Also, check out our good buddies Seth, Sheena, and Marco over at the Chick Foley Show, where they do a wrestling and wrestling figure show each week. And also check out their Facebook group. You heard Justin earlier. Check out his show, where he talks about AIW Wrestling Cheers. That's Wrestling Cheers, like the show Cheers, Scott. And he actually does the font like the show Cheers. Norman. So check out Wrestling Cheers with Justin Summers. Check out our buddy RJ over at Ringside Rant. Check out our buddies Rucker and Marty over at Boot to the Face. We mentioned him earlier, and he had on Brian Clark, a.k.a. Adam Baum, pulling up a chair. I can't wait to listen to that episode. And Scott, Drunk Wrestling History, what you got?
Yes, give us a follow on Twitter at wrestling_drunk. This past Friday's show was Jim Herd's Greatest Hits. And you can spell hits with an S in front of it. Kind of tells you what we think about Jim Herd.
Oh, so this is going to be a 205 jive in only 15 minutes.
Yes. Well, it goes a little bit longer than that. I think we stretch it out to about 25 or 30, and I give him a little bit of credit, but then you can guess where it goes after that. But again, Drunk Wrestling History with Jim Herd's Greatest Hits dropped this past Friday. You can find us wherever you find your podcasts at. We're Drunk Wrestling History. We're not always accurate, but we are always drunk.
Also, Marty and Sarah love wrestling, and congratulations to you two on the engagement. And check out Trivia with Buds every single day. Scott, roll call.
Yes, of course I want to throw it out to the great, the amazing, the super talented, the artist himself, Jason Wolf. But instead of going into the spiel that I normally do about his social media, which is at The Art of Jason Wolf, and his website, which is Doyle, Doyle draws.com, Jason Wolf has started up a Wolf fan club of sorts. It is going to be a fan club that you pay either a quarterly or yearly subscription to. You get all sorts of goodies based on the quarterly tier, or if you do the yearly one, you get extra goodies, including an exclusive figure. You'll want to check out this deal. It is live right now, pal, over at Doyle, Doyle draws.com. Go check out that Jason Wolf fan club. All sorts of goodies, all sorts of stuff you're going to want. Again, the Jason Wolf fan club over at doyledraws.com. And Jeff, I do want to say again, congratulations to Tim for getting the great Atom Bomb on his show to discuss his upcoming figure from Chella Toys. So happy for him. The figure is going to be amazing. Super happy that Tim scored that interview. And Jeff, that rounds out Roll Call.
Scott, that also rounds out episode 281. Anything else?
DoyleDraws.com. There's only a few fan club spots available. Go jump on them now. You don't want to miss out. Stay safe, stay healthy. Fig Life since 2016. And happy toy hunting.
And I want to thank everyone for listening to episode 281, #FigLife. Adios.
Yeah. Fullyposeable. Let's go. Jeff and Scott, the Toon Brothers, busting out the ring, but we don't take it out the box. MOC. Happy toy hunting. We'll see you next week. We're the OGs of WFP. Fullyposeable. Thank you all for listening. It ain't no storyline, real life siblings. So everybody go and do your toy spotting. #FigLife. Adios from the Kings.